Today, I want to look at first, social, environmental, and public sector auditing. Social, environmental, and public sector auditing. Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Fine. Yes. You know what? Of course, we are last time or on our earlier studies, we are looking on auditing the financial statements and stuff, all those kind of things. But now, nowadays, the companies, especially those companies who are operating in the European Union, they're required to look beyond. As auditors, we have to look on other factors that may have impact on the financial statements, like social matters, environmental matters, altogether. Social and what? Environmental issues. They could impact. So in other words, what I was saying is that what the companies do, they have a social and environmental impact. There's an impact in the society, according to the society. They cause a lot of damages to the environment and stuff. All those kind of things, they have impact on the financial statements that are being prepared by the what? By the company. So you as an auditor, you have to audit the social and environmental, those kind of things, how they impact, what are their impact on the business, and let me say going concern issues, business risks, what are the business risks associated with those social and environmental issues, what are the audit risks that are associated with what? With those environmental or social issues. That's what we're going to look at today. Are we together, guys? Hello?
Yes, we are following.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. If you're following, that's good. If you're following, that's good. Okay, it's fine. So, so am I right? In this case, in this chapter, in this chapter, we're going to look at what did the business do. We're going to look at what did the business do. What the business do. What the business do. And how this can affect and how this can affect the social and natural environment. The social and natural environment. That's good. That's good. So there are so many groups of stakeholders that are affected, that are affected by what the business can do. There are so many stakeholders that can be affected on what the business can do. So we do have people like employees. These are stakeholders. We do have the environment. We do have even the shareholders, the society at large. The society at what? At large. So traditionally, auditors, they were concerned with one set of stakeholders, like shareholders. On our earlier studies, we were much concerned about one set of stakeholders, shareholders. What the business do and how does this affect the shareholder? But now we are looking beyond that. We are looking what? Beyond that. We are now looking on the society, the environment. What the business do? How does it affect the environment, the society, the employees at large? Are we together, guys?
Yes.
Hello? That's good. If you are following, that's good. That's good. That's good. So in this study, we're going to mainly focus on society, employees, and what in the environment. Just imagine a Wange Korea company. How does it affect what is its impact on the environment? Let us be practical. What is its impact on the environment? Wange Korea company. Yes, come on, guys, let us participate. What is its impact? Activities, its activity. How does its activities affect the environment? Wange Korea company.
Well, I think being a mining entity, their operations have got an effect on the environment, in the sense that they destroy the land, and once land is destroyed, it cannot be replaced. It's one of those natural resources that cannot be replaced.
So giving yes, okay, NHP poor, that's good, fine. So there is a negative and positive impact on the society. What we call a company can cause, you know what, it can emit harmful, toxic substance into the atmosphere, isn't it? Yes, there's something we have to be practical. This is something that good you say, right? Give an example of Wange Korea company. Give an example of Wange Korea company. Its activities may harm the environment, the natural environment, in various ways. Its activities can harm the natural environment in various ways, including emissions of toxic substances into the atmosphere. Which mean in other ways, emissions of carbon dioxide, even other toxin substances into the atmosphere, including land degradation, even exhausting natural resources such as coal. What else? What does it harm in the environment? Extinction of other natural inhabitants. Extinction of other natural inhabitants like animals, different species, vegetable species. You see. So, just to mention a few. That's how it impacts. That's how it impacts the environment. So all those costs now, they must be included into the financial statements. They should be considered when you're auditing. We have to consider from planning, during auditing, when you're doing our final review as auditors. Social, to the society, how does it affect the society as another stakeholder? The activities of Wange Korea company, how do they affect the society? There's a pollution, isn't it? They cause pollution. So if you know the dangers of pollution to the human beings, they cause some like disease like cirrhosis, tuberculosis, and stuff. That's how they harm the society. Sometimes the water will not be safe for drinking. especially when they dispose their waste into the rivers. That's how they impact the sites. All those things, they should be considered when we're planning our audit, even during the audit until our final review. But these are costs. That's how they cost the society. To employees is another stakeholder. They are much concerned about health and safety at work. Health and safety at work. They are much concerned about health and safety at work. Health and safety at work. Guys, are you following on what I'm saying?
Yes, we're following.
Yes. That's why I'm giving a practical example, Wange Korea Kanban. Do you know a Wange Korea Kanban or else? You never ever heard about this Kanban? Do you know a Wange Korea Kanban?
Yes.
Where is it located or situated?
It's in Wange. It's a mining entity.
Okay, is it still functioning? Is
It's still registered as an operating entity, but we are not very sure if it's operating.
Oh, it's operating. So you guys are not reading the news, yeah? It's operating nicely. It's operating nicely. Wange Korea Kanban. Oh, it's operating. There's resumed operations last time. So that's what you should know as an auditors. That's what you should do. What? That's good. Any question before we proceed? So you may say, so all these activities, you may write all these activities, and their impacts on the aforementioned stakeholders above may cost the company or may cause significant business interruption. May cause significant business interruption, even business failure. Even business failure. In what sense? How does these activities may cause, if they are not managed, if the management did not take these activities into account, or if these activities are not being managed very well with the management, how does this cause the business to fail? Just one example. How does this affect?
It can be through litigation from third parties.
That's good. So in other words, there will be probably due to some fines, isn't it? Fines, litigation. Yes, litigation. Why litigation? Due to non-complying, isn't it? With legislation, isn't it? Which attracts fines. And obviously, this could be significant enough to prevent the existence of the business in the future. That's good. Litigations. What could be the reason? The reason is that non-compliance. There's a risk of non-compliance in this case with legislation. So which have the following effects, like what? Fines. This will result in fines. The company being fined, which automatically prevented the continuance of the business. That's good. What else? Bad publicity is bad. Bad publicity. People, they'll start complaining the society. Pressure groups. Look what is the Wangikule they're doing. There's no image. They've like I remember last time, I know what called that toxic substance killed the rhinoceros. I'm sure in the previous years. There's some disposition of toxic substance into the river, which endanger the what, the wildlife. Do you remember in previous years we've lost, I'm sure, quite a number of rhinoceros? Do you remember in Zimbabwe? That one has a bad record. That's equal a bad publicity. So the effect, the impact of bad publicity, obvious, may lead to loss of customers. You may lose customers due to that. You may lose customers. You may lose even market share. You see the impact of bad publicity, loss of customers, loss of market share. And obvious, which have a significant impact on the business or on the continuity of the business, which have what? Which have a significant impact on the continuity of the business. Any question?
No questions, we can proceed.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So in other words, we were saying the directors, they should incorporate social and environmental values into the corporate culture of the company. That's how best they can minimize all these issues, environmental issues, social issues. Environmental and what? Social issues. So they have to incorporate social and environmental values into the corporate culture of the company. Why? It's so important. It's another way of communicating with the employees so that the employees are aware of the risks arising in these areas, and so that they may focus on avoiding them. Which means the company, they have to set some targets of social and environmental performance, and periodically they should be upraised in some key, which in other ways we're talking about the key performance indicators. They have to set, which means the company, they have to set some targets of social and environmental performance together with the key performance indicators. What are the key performance indicators? What are the key performance indicators? KPI. Key performance. What are the purpose of having some key performance indicators? Come on, guys. Key performance indicators we just these are performance measures. Are used to measure what? Performance measures. Good example, our target is to reduce accidents at work by a certain percentage. It's a target. It's a social target. What are the key performance indicators? We have to set the number of, you have to upraise. Does the number of accidents are being reduced? That's the key performance indicator. That's what it may indicate. That's what can measure those targets. So a key performance indicator is a performance measure. These are performance measures altogether. KPIs, key performance indicators. So in exam, you may be given probably a certain Kanban, then you'll be given targets. By using common sense, you should know what are the key performance indicators. What are the stakeholders in this? What is the issue and what are the key performance indicators? Good example, still using the example of Wangekolia Kanban. The stakeholder, it's environmental groups, isn't it? We do have what you call environment, or the local community. Let's say the local community. So, right. For example, the stakeholder can be local community. The main issue about that is it's about what? Noise pollution, isn't it? The issue is about noise pollution. What are the key performance indicator? Number of noise complaints each year. Number of noise complaints each year. Are you following what I'm saying, guys? Hello?
Yes, we are following.
Yvonne, Viola, and Ntinyara began. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes.
Good example. Yes, good example. The stakeholder is local community. The main issue about the community, the community usually complain about is about the noise pollution, which means the key performance indicator, the performance measurement, is a number of noise complaints each year. That's why key performance issues, performance measures. It's about employees at work. Employees, another stakeholder. Employees. The main issue of issues of the employees are much concerned about some work-related injuries. What are the key performance indicators? Number of injuries sustained at work each year. Number of injuries sustained at work each year. That's the key performance indicator. That's good. So in exam, please, exam focus, please, you must be prepared. So am I right? Exam focus. You must prepare to be to be asked to discuss. You may be asked to discuss. You may be asked to discuss of the difficulties in measuring and reporting on social and environmental performance. You have to prepare for that. Those kind of questions. You may be asked to discuss of the difficulties in measuring and reporting on social and environmental performance. And to recommend audit procedures in relation to some key performance indicators given in the question. That's good. Any question, guys, before we proceed? Hello? So, in other words, if I say you're carrying out environmental audits now, it's now clear now. If I say you're carrying environmental audits now, in other words, you are simply assessing us as auditors. If you're carrying out environmental audits, we are assessing how well the organization performs. We are assessing how well the organization performs in safeguarding the environment in which it operates. How well the organization performs in safeguarding the environment in which it operates, and whether the company complies with its environmental policies, and whether the company complies with its environmental policies. That's good. That's good. Are you following what I'm saying, guys?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're assessing that, there are some issues that you have to look at. When you're doing our assessment, there are things, certain factors that we should consider. Generally, there are certain factors that we have to consider, that we should consider us as auditors. Good example, we should carry out environmental surveys. We should carry out what you call environmental surveys. Environmental surveys, usually at the planning stage. When we are planning our audit, we should carry out what we call environmental surveys. Remember, when talking about audit, environmental audit. We are assessing. It's a matter of assessment of how the organization performs is safeguarding the environmental in which it operates. So we should consider we have to carry out what we call environmental surveys. Environmental surveys helps us to identify areas. When you're carrying out environmental surveys, it helps us to identify areas for further development. Problems, potential hazards, and so forth. It helps us to identify these areas. What are the potential hazards of these clients' activities? What are the problems of these clients' activities? What are the further developments of these clients' activities? That's the importance of carrying what we call environmental surveys. Fine. What else? We should also do what we call supplier audits. Yes, it falls under environmental audits. Yes, you have to do what we call supplier audits. It's another thing that may help us to ensure that the goods and services bought in by the client. It helps to ensure that goods and services bought in by the client meet the standard applied by that organization. Meet the standards applied by that organizations. That's good. etc. So that's how these same things that you have to do when carrying out environmental audits. So you may write this statement. You may write these statements. We may write these statements. So in general, the environmental audit encompasses the three processes. So in general, an environmental audit encompasses 3 processes. Which means first stage, it includes determine in what areas targets should be set. It includes what? Determining in what areas targets should be set. Determine in what areas targets should be set. And at what level they should be set. That's good. Then third one is about performance measurement. Performance measurement. So if we're talking about performance measurement, which means the measurement of actual performance in terms of the agreed targets. The measurement of actual performance in terms of the agreed targets. Then lastly, reporting on the implications of the results. Third process is about reporting on the implications of the results for compliance with the targets. So here are the general audit procedures that the environmental auditor may carry out. So here are the general audit procedures that the environmental auditor may carry out. Remember, audit procedures are written in point form. First point is you as environmental auditor, you should obtain a copy of the company's environmental policy. You should obtain a copy of the company's environmental policy. And then another procedure, you should assess whether the policy is likely to achieve objectives. Assess whether the policy is likely to achieve objectives, like what? Meet legal requirements. That's the objective. Meet legal requirements. Satisfying employees' needs at work, etc. Another procedure, you should test implementation and adherence to the policy. You should test implementation and adherence to the policy. You should test implementation and adherence to the policy by discussing with the client's management or directors, or else you can do your observation. You can do it by observation. That's good. So the procedures that are specific, they're different to specific scenario that you will be given. That's why I say general procedures. That's why I call them what? General procedures. Any question? Hello? Any question before we move on to public sector? Audit of performance information in the public sector. Any question?
No questions from my side.
So all in all, you as an auditor, you should consider the cost. Did the company include all those kind of probably some all those activities? The end result is that there will be some provisions, contingent liabilities all those things. Did the client adequately disclose some contingent liabilities into the financial statements? Did they recognize provisions? That's what you as an auditor, you are much concerned about, because all those activities, they have some impact on the financial statements. That's where that's the main issue is. You've won altogether. And Viola and Began Spand.
Yes, but
so usually
follow.
That's why it is very important on question number to understand, especially on question number 1, to understand the nature of the company. Does it have some other environmental impacts? Social. You see, when you'll be asked to evaluate business risk, audit risk, these are some of things that you quickly understand the nature of the business on its own. Its activities, how does it impacts the environment? Does it have any negative impacts, adverse impacts? That's good. So now let us look on audit of performance information in the public sector. What is the public sector? When talking about the public sector, what is it? Audit of performance information in the public sector. What is the public sector? Hello? What is the public sector? Public sector. Oh, you guys don't know public sector? Public sector. Public sector company. What is a public sector? Viola, you can try. Public sector.
I think it will be controlled by the state, the government.
Okay. These are government what? Entities. Okay. It's fun. So, in other words, you simply say public sector is the part of an economy that is controlled by the state, isn't it? By the government, isn't it? Yes. In other words, in this case, we're not talking about private. So there's a difference between private companies and the public companies. So a public sector is totally controlled by the government. That's good. I like that, Viola. Well tried. Well done, in fact. So now, so auditing public sector performance information, it helps to make governments accountable to the public. It helps what? Auditing public sector performance information. It helps to make governments accountable to the public. That's good. So what are the organizations that are in the public sector? Let us be practical. Healthcare, isn't it? Education. You have nowadays Minister of Health and Education or something like that, childcare and stuff. The police. What else? Organizations that are in the public sector. Hello? So if I say there's a way the performance information, audit of performance information in the public sector, then I've said auditing public sector performance information helps to make governments accountable to the public. So the word performance information simply means information published by public sector organizations. Performance information simply means what? Information published by public sector organizations. Performance information, in this case, it simply means information published by public sector organizations regarding their objectives and their performance. Regarding their objectives and their performance in relation to those objectives. and their performance in relation to those objectives. So in the exam, you know what? The main focus of an audit, so you may write in the exam. In the exam, the main focus of an audit of performance information in the exam, the main focus of an audit of performance information will be operational performance. And this will usually be examined, in terms of specific quantities, measures. This will usually be examined in terms of specific quantities, measures, such as key performance indicators, this will usually be examined in terms of specific quantities, quantitative measures, such key performance indicators, and or qualitative measures, or qualitative measures. Yes. Can we continue? Hello? So performance measures. Okay, that's good. So performance measures might be designed based on what? On the objectives of the public sector entity itself. Performance measures might be designed based on the objectives of the public sector entity itself. So at this level, when I'm doing AAA, the objectives will always predetermined. The objectives will always be predetermined. So the performance measures might be designed based on the objectives of the public sector entity itself. So in exam, you may be given a university, you may be given a hospital, you may be given whatever public sector. All these sectors have different objectives, which means different key performance indicators or performance measures. So let us give me a good example of a health service, or a hospital, or a health service. You should quickly think about what are the stakeholders. Do you know the criteria? Look at the thinking line. Let's say you're given a hospital or a health service in exam. So quickly think about the relevant stakeholders. And what are the objectives of that public sector? The first thing to try to think about what are the relevant stakeholders and what are the objectives. That's why I say at this level, the objectives will always be predetermined. You should use your common sense. What could be the objectives? And what are the key performance indicators? It now is easier that can be generated. What are the key performance indicators that can be generated? Because the key performance indicators are generated from the targets, are generated from the objectives. Are you following, guys, on what I'm saying? So in this case, when talking about a health, we do have patients. Patients. These are the stakeholder. Example, stakeholder. So what are the perspective of patients? What are the perspective of patients? What are the perspective of patients? Yeah, right? What are the perspective of patients? Hello? They're much concerned about waiting times for treatment, isn't it? They're much concerned about waiting times for treatment, isn't it? That's what their perspective. Spanda. Am I lying? The perspective of patients waiting times for treatment.
That's correct.
That's correct, isn't it? What else? Measures of effective of treatment, isn't it? The waiting times of treatment, it measures what? Measures of effective of treatment, isn't it? These are some of the things that prospective patients. What are other stakeholders in the health? Managers, isn't it? Managers. What their perspective is about they're much concerned about the number of people treated per day or per hour or so. The managers, other stakeholders, they're much concerned about costs per treatment. You see. So quickly think about the stakeholders. It helps you to predetermine. Okay, that's good. It helps you to predetermine the objectives or the perspectives of those stakeholders, and again to generate relevant key performance indicators from those objectives or targets. I'm sure we are together. So when you're planning to conduct the audit of performance information, when you're planning to conduct the audit of performance information, can someone define again what is the performance information? What is the performance information? We have defined this. What is the performance information? Performance information.
We say it's information that is published by public sector organizations.
It includes what?
Yeah,
public sector organization. Yes, it includes what? That information, it includes what? Objectives what?
It includes their objectives and their performance in relation to those objectives.
That's good. That's so we are together. Thank you for that. So when we are planning to conduct the audit of performance information, the first step is to identify the objectives. The first step is what? To identify the objectives. The first step is to identify the objectives against which the performance of the organization is to be evaluated. Yes, the first step is to identify the objectives against which the performance of the organization is to be evaluated. Then the next step, having identified the objectives, now as an auditor, now you can plan the procedures. You can plan for the procedures. You can plan for the procedures to test whether they have been achieved. To test whether they have been achieved. Yes, you have to plan for the process to test whether they have been achieved. So the procedures may include, in general procedure may include interviews with the key management and staff, isn't it? Interviews with key management and staff. Interviews with key management and staff. You can review of results of internal and external challenges. It's another procedure that you may plan for that procedure to review of results of internal and external challenges. You may test of controls. It's another procedure that you may design. Test of controls on the systems used to generate performance information. Because if the controls are weak, which means you use an order, you're going to place less lines on the information that are being generated by that new system. If the controls, internal controls are robust or adequate, you may place more lines on the information that is being produced by that system, isn't it? So that's the reason why you have to test some controls on the system. So last but not least, you may review even of minutes of meetings. You may review of minutes of meetings where performance information has been discussed. So guys, the other thing that you must know, whenever you're designing a procedure, end your statement or end your procedure telling us why are you applying that audit procedure. If say, good example, an exam will be asked, what are the audit procedures that you may perform when auditing government grants? Each procedure, tell us the reason. Don't say I'll recalculate the government or the amount recognized in the period under review. Why? Show us why you are reperforming, why you say you recalculate, why you are performing an analytical procedure, why are you carrying out trend analysis, comparing prior year period, this year period's information. Why? Are we together, guys? Are we together?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Don't just say I will inspect the assets. Full stop. Come on. A procedure must be clear. You have to explain your procedure, not to state. Okay, that's good. So when you are reporting on this public sector performance information, in other words, let's say there's no specific form of word that must be used in this case. There's no specific form of words that must be used. when you're concluding and reporting on this information, performance information, there's no specific form of way that must be used. So generally, the auditor gives a conclusion on whether the public sector body has met its objective. That's good. Are we together? So the report may take the form of your report should take the form of an integrated report of performance against the entity's objectives. The report may take the form of an integrated report of performance against the entity's objectives. What is an integrated report? When you say integrated report, so in integrated reporting, integrated reporting, it's a single report that integrates. When you talk about integrated report, it's a single report that integrates the various strands of information, reported into a coherent whole, Or let's say, in other words, when talking about the various strands of information, let me try to explain that one. I'm talking about financial information. We're talking about management commentary. It includes governance and remuneration. It includes sustainability reporting. So reporting on financial, it includes financial reporting. It includes management commentary. Yes, you're going to report what is the management. You're going to report on management commentary. It includes governance and remuneration report. It includes sustainability reporting. That's what we call integrated report. So by reporting on more than just financial capital, you know what? Users are to be provided with information on how an organization's create value over time. So that's another advantage of an integrated report. So there will be a more forward-looking focus than historical financial statements. The report it will be more meaningful to determine business value. That's good. Any question? So in conclusion, key elements of an integrated report are overview of organization and its environment, overview of organization and its environment. These are the key elements. Governance structure and how this supports value, the business model, risks and opportunities, performance and achievement of objectives, future outlook and challenges, strategies, resource allocation, etc. So these are the key elements of an integrated reporting. So you must know the advantage of issuing an integrated reporting. I'm sure last time some students, they failed to answer this question. What is an integrated reporting? What are the benefits to the stakeholders, to the business? Comparing with those auditing of historical, only considering historical information. Any question? Before we start on reporting, any question? Hello?
I think we can proceed.
We can proceed, okay. So, new topic, which is very important. Which is very important. Which is very, very important. I'm sure this one it needs an hour by half 11 should be done. With this, after 11:30 should done with this. Yes, should done with this one. So am I right? Reporting. They say ISA 700 forming an opinion and reporting on financial statements. ISA 700 forming an opinion and reporting on financial statements. So here, guys, usually in exam you'll be asked, so am I right? Exam focus point. Before we go any further, you should know how exactly what are the exam focus points. So in exam, you would be asked to critically appraise. You would be asked to critically appraise the standard auditor's report that has been prepared or that has been given. Yes, that has been given. So we'll be asked to critically appraise the standard auditor's report given. Given, yes, that's called. So the first thing that you should know is the first thing that you should know that we do have an auditor may issue different types of reports. An auditor may issue different types of, there are so many different forms of report that an auditor may issue. Yes, let me say there are different forms of audit reports that an auditor may issue. Namely, number one, we do have what we call unmodified audit opinion, unmodified or unqualified audit opinion. Number two, we do have what we call modified reports. Modified reports. Under modified reports, we do have a qualified audit opinion. I'm sure that you are writing. Are you writing?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we do have what we call qualified. It's an example of a modified audit report. A qualified opinion. We do have what we call an adverse opinion. And lastly, a disclaimer of opinion. So there are four types of audit reports. So they are issued on different circumstances. These reports, they are issued on different circumstances. The other thing that you should know when you are critically appraising the report that you are giving exam is the arrangement of headings. The arrangements of headings in the report. The arrangement of what? Of headings in the report on each given report, be it unmodified, qualified, adverse, or disclaimer for opinion. The arrangements of headings. You should check on that. The other thing that you should also consider when you critically appraise the standard of report that you're given is the wording. Technical language. Did the probably the auditor use a technical language, audit language in the report, appropriate language, and the wording that have been written under each heading, is it appropriate? Is it appropriate? If I say emphasis of meta paragraph, what is written under that heading? Is it inclined with that heading? That's good. If they say key audit matters, what is written under that heading? Is it in line with matters? All those matters, are they a good example of key audit matters according to ISA 701? All those things, they're going to help us to critically appraise what? Or so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to, let me share my screen so that I'm going to guide you on how best we can write our notes, on how best we can write our notes. Let me share my screen. I've got somewhere that you should get. Are you seeing my screen? Hello?
Yes.
So here's the report example. So you may start with
Not
number one. Not yet. Number one, let us
Not
look
yet.
on. Not yet. Okay, let me try to. Yes, wait. Are you using a PC or a phone?
PC, sir.
Okay. What about others?
Yeah, yangu ya kuoneka.
That's good. What about others? So number one, let's just start discuss about number one. We're going to discuss all those reports. Yes. Number one, we do have what we call unmodified report or unmodified or unqualified report, isn't it? Are you writing? Unmodified or unqualified opinion. That's good. So you may write under unmodified or qualified. In other words, the auditor, when you're issuing an unmodified, which means the auditor is concluding that the financial statements taken as a whole, they give a true and fair view of the financial position of the company. They give what? A true and fair view of the financial position of the company. And the financial statements, they have been prepared in accordance with the financial reporting framework. That's what does it mean? Fair, give a true and fair view, which means the financials, they have been prepared in accordance with what? International financial reporting framework and legal system frameworks or legal framework. That's good. That's why it's saying unmodified report. Which means the auditor is not, there's no any reason to modify my statement, my opinion. I'm agreeing with what the client's management did. So now I'm going to highlight. You see, this is a report example of this one. The first thing, the heading is the report should clearly indicate that it's a report from an independent auditor. It's an independent auditor's report. All reports, they should clearly indicate that these are reports from an independent auditor. As indicated here, independent auditor's report. Are we together, guys? Hello? Are we together?
Yes.
Number one, so number one, you may write number one. We are on the reports now. Number one, clearly indicate that it's a report from an independent auditor. independent auditor's report is it written there. Number 2, the report should be addressed to the shareholders of the company. The report should be addressed to the shareholders of the company. We're talking about the addressee, isn't it? Addressee. The report should be addressed to the shareholders of a company, as indicated to the shareholders of ABC company. And the report should have this one heading clearly indicate that it's a report on what? In this case, the report on the audit of the financial statements. A report on what? In this case, it's clearly a report on the audit of the financial statements. So this heading, if you say opinion, usually in this case, if it's an unmodified report, you just write opinion. If it's a what? Unmodified report, you simply write opinion. It's a heading. So under opinion paragraph, I'm sure that you're writing opinion. So under opinion paragraph, please guys, clearly indicates, I'm sure that you're writing, clearly indicates that under that heading, the report should clearly indicate the name of the company or the name of the client. I'm sure that you're writing, just writing point form, the name of the company or the client, in bracket the client, the set of financial statements audited. I'm sure that you're just writing point form under opinion, the set of financial statements audited, and the period covered, by those financial statements. It's another point, the period covered by those financial statements. And the opinion, simple like that. Did you write those things, guys, before I read under opinion paragraph? Did you write?
Yes.
So look here, I'm going to read under opinion. We have audited the finance. Please continuously, please, you have to read this report. They are there in the textbooks. Please just read them. So we have audited the financial statements of ABC company, the company, which comprise the statement of financial position as at December 31, 2021, and the statement of comprehensive income, statement of change in equity, statement of cash flows for the year ended, then ended, and the notes of the financial statements, including some of significant accounting policies. You see, they've mentioned the what? The company, isn't it, the client, and the set of financial statements. Here they said we have audited the statement of financial position, statement of comprehensive income, statement of changes in equity, statement of cash flows for the year ended, then ended, and significant accounting policies. Second paragraph, they say, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects, or give a true and fair view of the financial position of the company as the 31 December 2021, and of its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with the international financial reporting standards. You see, if you explain opinion. How simple is it? So please, when appraising a report, make sure that it's in line with this one under opinion paragraph. The wording or they clearly indicate what I've indicated: the name of the client, the financial statement that have been audited, and the period that are covered by those financial statements, and again the opinion, the auditor's opinion, isn't it? Right. Second paragraph. That's the arrangement of headings.
A question
Hello?
before you proceed.
Yes.
Is that almost all the published audit reports give similar wording? Does this suggest that under exempt conditions we should sort of claim the wording and present it as is?
You know what? I've guided you what's supposed to be included under the heading, opinion paragraph. I say should clearly indicate the name of company, isn't it? You're not asked to redraft the report. No. You just appraise. My notes are very simple and clear. under opinion paragraph, they should tell us the name of the company, for instance, the period covered and stuff. Simply that. So when you're reading, that's supposed just put all those things, simple things in your heading. There's no need to claim, but they need to know what exactly should be included under this heading. Are we together? And of course, the wording. Yes, the wording. But if you know the element that should be included, of course, the wording, it is when you're reading, it quickly reminds you to okay. When I was reading all those, that's how they build the statement. That's how they build the meaningful paragraph and stuff on this heading. So the next heading we do have what called basis for opinion. Basis for what? Basis
Okay,
for
sir,
opinion.
just before you proceed, I wanted to ask as well. Maybe it's just to follow up on what my colleague has asked. That are you saying in the exam, there is no way we're going to be asked to maybe give a paragraph of the opinion or something like that?
Yes, you're not redraft you're not required to redraft the report. It's a matter of upraising. No, here the report is this one. What is done here is in line with. It's correct. Here it's not correct. Yes, correct, because it should be done like this. This heading, the arrangement of heading is not correct. This heading should be before or after this heading. That's to upraise.
Okay. Because I'm probably
what is
maybe
written under?
I share the same concern with him.
Okay, so what is written on the opinion paragraph, that's not should be written there. It should supposed to be written under basis for opinion paragraph.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Answered.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
That's what we're going to main focus on. But you have to read these reports. Trying to implement, okay, that's say said as under opinion paragraph it should be include ABC. So let me read this report, okay? So under basis for opinion paragraph. Here, the auditor, you should clearly tell the stakeholder that you have conducted the audit in accordance with what? You are following the ESA standards. Isn't it? Under base clearly indicate that you are complying with international standards in auditing, carrying out your audit, isn't it? And again, you are complying with the International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants, the provisions, Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants. When you are carrying out your audit, are you writing? Under basis for opinion, you should clearly indicate that you are complying. When you're carrying out your audit, you were complying with the international standards in auditing. You were complying with Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants. And the audit evidence that you have obtained is sufficient. Yeah, right. Okay, it's fine. Are we together, guys? Under basis for opinion. That should be. So I'm going to read this statement. We conduct our audit in accordance with international standards on auditing ESAs. Our responsibility under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibility for the audit of the financial statements section of our report. We are independent of the company in accordance with the International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants, Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, ESBA code, together with the ethical requirements that are relevant to our audit of the financial statements in jurisdiction. And we have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with these requirements in the IESBA code. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. You see, so they've indicated that they were complying with international standards on auditing, and they were complying with the provisions of Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants. And again, they indicate that they believe that the evidence that they have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a base for the opinion. Any question on that? Now, under basis for opinion paragraph, there's a key audit matter. Key audit matters. So this heading should be included, especially for public interest entities. Now they're required for listed entities. They're required to include this heading. All together? Hello? Key audit matters heading. All listed companies, they're required to include, us as auditors, we should include this heading. For all, when you're auditing listed companies, we should include this heading, key audit matters. What are the key audit matters? So under key audit matters, you should define what is key audit matter. What is key audit matter? You should define. And again, you should clearly indicate that this heading does not give rise to the modification of our opinion. You should clearly indicate that this heading does not give rise to the modification of our opinion. And finally, you should give, you should indicate, or you should describe each key audit matter. You should describe each key audit matter. You should describe each key audit matter. Hello, guys. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, any question?
Yes, I don't know if I got you wrong. You said the key audit matters should indicate that it doesn't give rise to our opinion.
Give rise to the modification. You should clearly indicate that we are not modifying. You should clearly indicate that this heading doesn't mean that we are modifying our opinion.
Okay.
So the purpose of key audit matters is it enhance the communicative, the communication to the users of financial statements. We're just enhancing. Altogether, we're just what? We're just enhancing, yes. In other words, we're just communicating those matters that require significant audit attention in performing the audit. We're just indicating those matters that require significant audit attention in performing the audit. And you as an auditor, you should use your professional judgment. But these matters does not give rise to the modification. It doesn't mean that we are modifying our opinion. Good examples of these, what we can consider as key audit matters are areas of higher assess the risk of metronomy statement. Areas of higher assess the risk of metronomy statements. So these are the most, in other words, which key audit matters are those matters that in the auditor's professional judgment were of most significance as it is written there. Fine. Usually, key audit matters are those matters communicated with those charged with the governance. A good example of key audit matters. Those matters are that communicate with those charged with governance. That's what we call key audit matters. So here they define key audit matters are those matters that in our professional judgment were of more significance in our audit of the financial statements of the current period. These matters were addressed in the context of our audit of the financial statement as a whole and informing our opinion thereon. And we do not provide a separate opinion on these matters, which means we are not forming another opinion. Then they've put in bracket description of each key audit matter in accordance with ISA 700. That's why I say example of key audit areas that that are subjective. In other words, where the management they use their professional judgment, like prospective financial information. It's a key audit matter because usually audit they use their professional judgment. Like valuation areas in that needs probably valuation areas where the management they were using their personal opinion, etc. So they should be clearly described there. Then after that one, we do have what we call other information paragraph. I'm sure that you guys are writing, isn't it? Other information paragraph. Other information paragraph. So when we talk about other information paragraph, there are other information that is not under this heading. You should tell us what's your responsibility as an auditor on other information. What's your responsibility? What is the management's responsibility on other information? You should tell us. What is the management's responsibility? What is the auditor's responsibilities on other information? Are you following, guys, on what I'm saying? Hello? Are you still there? Okay. So here they say other information. They say management is responsible for the other information. You see, they clearly indicate who is responsible for other information. The other information comprising the information included in the X report, but does not include the financial statements and our auditors report thereon. So when talking about other information, it's another information there which you may think you as an auditor is very important. Which you may think it must be, we should have to report it. They say the other information comprises the information included in the X report, which means from another report. You may think that no, the information from this report should be included in our report. The shareholders of the company, they should know about this. But does not include the financial statements and our auditors report thereon. Our opinion on the financial statement does not cover the other information, and we do not express any form of assurance conclusion thereon. Why? Because we are just disclosing that information, but we do not cover it during our responsible for the other information, but we think that you have to disclose it. Thank you for that. Then the other one, hedging.
Sorry, sir, before we proceed, are we saying looking at an annual report? Are we saying the other information comprises of elements like maybe the chairman's reports, the director's reports? Is that what makes up the other information?
There are so many reports. There are reports from outside stakeholders and stuff. You see. So the main is that you have to assess the impact of that information on the financial statement, isn't it? So this one is an unmodified report. So that's what I say. Usually we conclude by saying no, we have nothing to report in this regard, because the information, this one, there's no any. I'm not saying any indicate that it can materially misstate. It is materially misstated. So that's why they continue writing here. They say, in conjunction with our audit of the financial statement, our responsibility is to read the other information. That's what and what the management response. They say, in connection with our audit of the financial statement, our responsibility is to read the other information, and in doing so, consider whether the other information is materially inconsistent with the financial statements. So we record which means you shouldn't say nothing to report. In the main issue of considering the other information is it's a matter of consistent. Is it consistent with the financial statements or with other knowledge that we've acquired in auditing this client? Isn't it? And then to express our opinion, to express our opinion. That's supposed to be written under other information. Then another heading, we should include responsibilities of management, those charged with the governance. Responsibilities of management, those charged with governance. Tell me, guys, when we say those charged with the governance, we are referring to which? What are these stakeholders? If I say those charged with the governance,
I think we are referring to the board of directors
and other subcommittee boards, isn't it? That's good. That's good. So you should know their responsibility. You should report on that. What are their responsibilities? So clearly indicate that are the ones who are responsible for preparing financial statements, isn't it? All together? Are the ones who are responsible to assess the ability to assess the going concern. I'm sure that we are pointing down in point form. Are the ones who are responsible, clearly indicate that are the ones who are responsible for the preparing financial statements to assess the going concern of the company. Are the ones who are responsible for assessing the adequacy of internal controls and the financial reporting process. So that should be clearly indicated. That's what should be written under this heading. That's what they let me read. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with IFRS, and for such internal controls management determines is necessary to enable the preparation financial statements that are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. In preparing the financial statements, management is responsible for assessing the company's ability to continue as a going concern and disclosing as applicable matters relating to going concern and using the going concern basis of accounting unless management either intends to liquidate the company or to cease operations or has no realistic alternative but to do so. Those charged with the governance are responsible for overseeing the company's financial reporting process. You see, they'll just tell us about responsibility. So there's no need for you to start to claim each and every word, but you must know exactly what are the responsibilities. That's why I'm giving you your notes in point form, so that it will be easier for you to read, to remind you, okay, so what is written here, or elements are included, or there are some missing, or the wording is not appropriate, or what is written here should not be included under this heading stuff when you're assessing or appraising a report. Any question before we proceed? Then now we do have what has a responsibility for the audit of the financial statements. Here you're telling us your responsibility as an auditor. You tell us what? Your responsibility. Your responsibility is to assess risk of material misstatements, to us to obtain understanding of internal controls, to evaluate the accounting policies. That's the auditor's responsibilities. And to express your opinion. That's the auditor's responsibilities. That's what should be included under this heading.
Hello, sir. Sorry, I lost you there.
Yes.
Can you please repeat for the responsibilities of auditor?
Generally, your responsibility is to assess, the risk of material misstatement, isn't it? There are so many responsibilities. The accounting policies to assess internal controls, adequacy of internal control systems, to see whether the financial statements are prepared in accordance with financial reporting framework and other general accepted accounting practices, and to express opinion, just to give you a few. That's your responsibility. They should be clearly described under this heading. Yes. That's good. So there's a report on other legal and regulatory, but this one's optional. It depends on the jurisdiction. That report on other legal and regulatory requirements, it's optional. It depends with national jurisdiction. So you may skip that one. Never mind of this one, because other things that are included here, they've been included under other headings that you've mentioned above. So we do have, after that one, we have to write the signature in the name of the audit firm. We need a signature. The signature of the audit firm in the name of the audit firm. Even the personal name of the auditor or both is appropriate for the particular jurisdiction. So we need the signature in the name of the audit firm or your personal name, then audit address, then date. That's the layout. These are the elements of unmodified audit report. These are the elements of unmodified report. So now let us move on to another type of report. Would you have what you call yes, modified opinions? Yeah, would you have modified opinions? Fine. So do you have qualified opinion report? So like what you've mentioned earlier, I want to say qualified opinion, which means the auditor you are saying the matters in question, the matters or the issues in question, they are only material but not pervasive. They're only what? Material but not pervasive. That's the word, what the spelling of pervasive, yeah? When issuing a qualified opinion, we are saying the matters in question, let's say you have some disagreements with the management, client's management over probably accounting treatment or over certain information or limitation of scope, you should assess that the impact of that matter or of that issue on the financial statements. You have to assess. So some of the matters, they can be only material to the financial statements. Some of the matters, they can be both material and pervasive. So the word pervasive, they say, is the term used to describe the effects of possible effects on the financial statements of misstatements or undetected misstatements. So pervasive, which means we are saying this is the seriousness of the matter. So if the matter is both material and pervasive, which means the matter is so serious, the matter can seriously misstate the financial statements as a whole. The matter can seriously misstate the financial statements as a whole. So, which means these are matters which do not affect certain elements of the financial statements, but the whole set of the financial statements. Are we together, guys? About the word material and pervasive.
lost a bit. Just to confirm,
Mm.
is there a situation where a matter is material but not pervasive?
Yes, where a matter is material, which means it only affects a specific element of specific elements in the financial statements, specific elements on the financial statements. Good example. We consider that's where sometimes we were doing some calculations. The material is it represent this one, isn't it? Then you ended up when you're doing audit risk, for example, the management, they did not impair the asset, they did not test for impairment, and in fact they did not recognize impairment. Are you following on what I'm saying? Then yes, you're going to use your profession judgment. Then you have assessed that this issue is only material but not pervasive. Why? Because it's only going to affect certain elements, specific elements like assets, overstatement of assets, and overstatement profits. Now the matter is material. But now look on the issue where they say pervasiveness. It's both material and pervasive. Let's say there's a limitation of scope. You're not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Remember, for you in order to express audit opinion, you should obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence from which you're going to base your conclusion. So you're not able to apply audit procedures, which means we are saying the financial statement taken as a whole, they are seriously misleading. I'm not able to express my opinion, which means they are so seriously misleading. There's a poor documentation. How did you prepare your financial statement? There's not even there's no proper invoices and stuff. Things are not in order. That issue does not affect certain or specific elements of financial statement, but the whole set of the financial statements. All together. Even the misapplication probably of new accounting policies. Consider it according to the scenario given. Does it affect certain elements or the whole set of financial statements? Yes.
Can I be correct?
So the word pervasive, we are saying in other words, it's the extent of misstatement. They are spreading widely throughout, isn't it? They are widely what? Spread throughout the financial statements. In simple terms, that's what the word pervasiveness mean. The material misstatements, they are spreading widely throughout the financial statements. Where the matter is material, which means they are not spread widely throughout, but they only affect certain or specific elements of the financial statements. I'm sure now I'm clear.
Okay, so in short, what we're saying is materiality is confined to a specific, maybe specific accounting balances or specific issues, whereas pervasiveness applies to the whole set of financial statements.
Remember, we're talking about the misstatements. Does the misstatements affect? Does these misstatements spread widely throughout the financial statement? Does the misstatements, material misstatements, or affect certain elements? Simple as that. If it's material only, which means it only affects certain elements of financial statements, be it assets, be it liabilities, be it or they are not specific. These receivables mean specific, like receivables inventory only, cost of sales only. But it's both material and pervasive, which means the material statement that spread widely throughout the financial statements. Right? Good example here they're given here. Good example is example of pervasive misstatements. Look here, look here, look here, look. Non-consolidation of a subsidiary. What do you think? You're auditing a group, but they did not consolidate a subsidiary. It's a pervasive misstatement. Are you there? Oh. Spanner, are you there?
Yes, I'm still connected.
Yes, here is a good example of pervasive misstatement, non-consolidation of a subsidiary. Just imagine this misstatement, which means it's widespread. If the management did not consolidate a subsidiary, it's a pervasive material misstatement, isn't it? Another example here, they say inability to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about a joint venture investment that represents over 90% of the company's net assets. Just imagine. So you're going to use your professional judgment. Consider the seriousness, the significance. This one is a significant joint venture, but we did not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So when you're reading, please, you as an auditor have to use your professional judgment. I'm sure we've discussed a lot of things. Let us move on to. I want to go on to qualified opinion. So other elements like indicated in the start, but here let's start from this paragraph. Other elements like it should be in a report from independent a report of an independent auditor, addressee, shareholders, and what is the report is it all about and stuff. Here, if it's in a qualified opinion, we are saying the matter is only material but not pervasive. I'm sure a qualified opinion, which means the issues give rise to the modification of the report. They're only material but not pervasive. So that's what it is. So here we say it clearly indicate the heading that it's a qualified opinion. We say on unmodified report, we say opinion because it was unmodified. Here now it's a qualified opinion report. So you clearly indicate that qualified opinion. You see how it is written. If the auditor qualifies his opinion, so the heading, that one opinion paragraph, you should clearly indicate that's qualified opinion. You clearly indicate that you have qualified opinion. Qualified opinion. Are you writing, guys? Hello? So other things that are different. Clearly indicate the company that have been audited.
Sorry, sir, please. Hello, sir.
Yes.
Can you please come again? My network is getting a little bit bad here and there. Okay, so I missed the whole statement.
Okay, I'm saying qualified opinion. Now, if it's a qualified report, clearly indicate that it's a qualified opinion. Heading. On an unmodified report, we say opinion paragraph. Say opinion, just write opinion. Because we are not modifying opinion. In this time, we are modifying opinion. That's why we say qualified opinion. If it's an adversary opinion, say adverse opinion. If it's a disclaimer, say a disclaimer of opinion. So in this case, it's a qualified opinion. Say qualified opinion. So again, under qualified opinion, clearly indicating the company that have been audited, the financial statement that have been audited, the period covered by those financial statements, and again, the opinion, your opinion. Like what you've mentioned earlier on, under opinion paragraph, under unmodified report. Are we together? But only here, under our opinion paragraph here, now this time our opinion is now, it will be clearly indicate that we have qualified your opinion. Look here, where it is written, in our opinion, except for the possible effects of the matter discovered in the basis for qualified opinion section of our report. So this heading should be cross-referenced with the basis for qualified opinion. The accompanying consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects or give a true and fair view of the financial position of the group as at December 31, 2021, in progress of its consolidated financial performance and its consolidated cash flows for the year and then ended in according to the international financial reporting. This one. So the opinion exactly which give rise to the opinion, which give rise to the qualification of opinion, it will be clearly indicated under basis for qualification opinion. That's where you have to indicate the reason why you have qualified your opinion, why you have modified your opinion. So basically, under qualified opinion, clearly tells us the companies that have audited, financial statements that have been audited, period covered, and your opinion, it should be cross-referenced to the base of opinion. It clearly indicates that the effects or the reasons which give rise to the qualification is described in the basis for qualified opinion section. So basis for qualified opinion, under unmodified report, we said basis for opinion. Now we say basis for qualified opinion because we've qualified our opinion, which means we've modified our opinion. Here it is clearly indicate that you're going to tell us the reasons why you have qualified your opinion. The first thing, we're going to tell us the reason why you have qualified your opinion. I'm sure that you're writing that under basis for qualified opinion. The first thing, tell us the reasons why you have qualified your opinion, why you have modified your opinion. The next thing that you have to tell us is about you did your work you were complying with international standards in auditing, like what you've mentioned earlier on. We end again with code of ethics. We are complying with the code of ethics and for professional accountants. And again, that you have obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence. That's all. So here, look here, they've indicated why they have qualified their opinion. The group's investment in XY company, a foreign associate acquired during the year and accounted for by the equity method, is carried at XXX on the consolidated statement of financial position as of December 31, 20X1. And ABC share of XYZ's net income of XXX is included in ABC's income for the year then ended. We were unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about the carrying amount of ABC investment in XYZ as at December 31, 20X1, and ABC's share of this one net income for the year because we were denied access to the financial information management and the auditors of XYZ. Consequently, we were unable to determine whether an adjustment to those amounts were necessary. We see, the first thing describe, give us a description of the reasons why you have qualified your opinion. Then the next thing, tells you that you did your work, you carried out your audit assignment complying with the ESA's code of ethics and for professional accountants, and you've obtained sufficient appropriate evidence. You believe that what you have acquired is sufficient. Any question on that, guys? Then the rest is the same, and the rest is yes.
So on the opinion paragraph in a modified report, we are saying the opinion that is expressed there is the opinion on the financial statements as a whole, without taking into account the specific matter that will then be raised on the basis of qualified opinion.
Come on, I'm not getting clear.
Okay, on the opinion paragraph, let's consider.
I say opinion or qualified opinion paragraph.
Yes,
are you referring to a modified report or a modified report?
On the modified report.
So you say on the qualified opinion.
On the qualified opinion report, we're saying the report that is
no heading, not report. Or heading. You want to refer to a heading or report, a qualified report or a heading under a qualified report, qualified opinion.
Yeah, I'm referring to the heading.
Qualified opinion.
Yes, I'm saying the opinion that is expressed there is the opinion on the financial statements as a whole, without considering the impact maybe of the matters that will then be raised on the following on the next paragraph.
You are just referencing The reasons for my qualification is describing the basis for qualified opinion. Simple as that. Under qualified opinion. All right, guys, don't complicate these things. Under qualified opinion, you just tell us about the company's audit financial statements, period covered, and you're not going to tell us the reason for why you qualified your opinion. You're just a reference. It is described in the next heading, basis for qualified opinion. Simple that. Then under basis for qualified opinion, you're telling us the reasons for your qualification, like I've read here, a basis for qualified opinion. Clearly, we do not able to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence regarding about the carrying amount or an associate saying or for foreign associate. That's why we've qualified our opinion. Thereafter, telling us that we were complying, we did our work, in fact, we did our work in compliance with the Eastern standards, Code of Ethics standards, and we believe what we've of the evidence that we've acquired is enough, is sufficient, appropriate, simple. That's what should be included under basis for qualified opinion. Okay, that's all. So the rest under qualified opinion is the same. The rest, like what you've discussed, key audit matters, if they listed the Kanban, responsibility of management, those charged the governance, and even what does responsibility and stuff is the same. So we are on the part that which makes difference. We do have what's called disclaimer of opinion or disclaimer report. A disclaimer when you are an auditor is what? Expressing a disclaimer of opinion. So under reading, we're supposed to write opinion or qualified opinion. Now we have to write a disclaimer of opinion. A disclaimer of opinion. Again, under disclaimer of opinion is a subheading under when you're issuing a disclaimer report. Everything is just the same from title, addressee, title, which means it's a report from an independent auditor, addressee, you're addressing your report to the shareholders of the company and stuff. So that heading is supposed to write opinion or disclaimer. We have to write, now we have to write it disclaimer for opinion. That is if you're issuing a disclaimer report, disclaimer of opinion. Again, under this statement, clearly indicate the financial statements that have been audited. So the company that have been audited, that have been audited, and again the period covered by those financial statements. You see how simple? I'm still repeating the same thing, but the heading now is clear. Should be clearly get disclaimer of opinion because it's a disclaimer report. And to us, in this case, in the refer is your opinion now, and then the other thing that should be included under disclaimer is your opinion. Reference to the basis for disclaimer of opinion. Again, the reason why you have this, why you have expressed this type of report. What does the word to disclaimer mean? To disclaim. Hello? If I say disclaim, what does this mean? Disclaimer. You're denying something, isn't it? Altogether.
I think maybe
disclaimer,
choosing not to.
They're denying, isn't it? That's simple. Disclaimer of opinion. You're saying no. Look here, I'm not able to we do not express an opinion on the accompanying consolidated financial statements of the group because of the significance of the matter described. We see you have to reference the reason of disclaimer. You have to you not mention the reason for denying your opinion under disclaimer of opinion, but you have to refer in the basis for disclaimer of opinion section of our report. That's where it's written here now under disclaimer, basis for disclaimer of opinion. Yeah. disclaimer of 4. Basis for disclaimer of opinion. That's where the first thing, right? The reason why you have denied your opinion. So the group investment in its joint venture XYZ company is carried at XXX on the group's consolidated statement of financial position, which represents over 90% of the group's net assets as at December 31, 2021. We were not allowed access to the management and the auditors of XYZ company, including XYZ company's auditors audit documentation. As a result, we were unable to determine whether any adjustments were necessary in respect of the group's proportional share of XYZ company's assets that it controls jointly, its proportional share of XYZ company's liabilities for which it is jointly responsible, its proportional share of XYZ's income and expense for the year, the elements making up the consolidated statement of financial in equity and the consolidated cash flow statements. You see, now you have to give the reason. Any question on this? Then the rest is just the same. Then the rest is just the same. We do have what called adverse report or adverse opinion, adverse report. So under adverse opinion now, adverse opinion. Okay, under disclaimer opinion, we are saying the matter is both material and pervasive. So we may indicate under disclaimer of opinion, the matter is both material and pervasive. I'm sure I've exhaustively expounded on those terms, material and pervasive. So when you're issuing a disclaimer of opinion, we say the matter is both material and pervasive, isn't it? That's good. So under adverse opinion, guys, are we together? So under adverse, hello guys?
Yes, we're still there.
Okay, thank you for that. So under adverse opinion, everything is the same from top title, addressee. What is the report is it all about? But the first heading that makes different. Now it's an adverse opinion that we now that's it's an adverse opinion that we are expressing now. So we have to clearly indicate that adverse opinion. Again, under adverse opinion, clearly mention the company that has been audited, the financial statement that has been audited, the period that is covered by those financial statements. You see, and again, just reference the reasons why you have issued an adverse report. Reference it that it is discussed, or the matter has described in the basis for adverse opinion, which means it is described in the subsection, the next heading. That's what they say, in our opinion, because of the significance of the matter discussed in the basis for adverse opinion section for report, the accompanying consolidated financial do not present fair or do not give a true and fair. This one, you have expressed opinion, but you do not mention the reason. You tell us that you have modified, you have modified the report, but do not tell what exactly what give rise to the modification. You refer to the basis for adverse opinion. That's where you're going to tell us. Here, tell us that yes. Here, the accompanying consolidated financial statement do not present fairly or do not give a true and fair view of the consolidated financial statement for position. And this one. They're telling us the financial statement, they do not give a true and fair view, which means the financial statement taken as well, they are useless. Yes, they are useless. So after under adverse opinion, then we have to go on is followed with the basis for adverse opinion. That's where now here we are going to tell us to describe, give us a description or a discussion of why did you modify your opinion? Why did you opt to issue an adverse opinion? That's good. The next thing, again, to answer that you have conducted your audits in accordance with the essence, national jurisdiction, in accordance with codes of ethics for professional accountants, simple that. And you have, we believe that you have obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Are we together, guys? Hello?
Yes, we are together.
Yes, that's good. The rest is the same. So now let me polishing up by we're going to look on going concern. If you're reporting going concern now, so you may clearly indicate it's another heading. It's another area that the examiner likes to examine or likes to for you to appraise. Because nowadays the types of report they've changed. Previously, when a reporting going concern, we were supposed to include in under basis under those opinion or base for opinion paragraph. But nowadays, you should include a separate heading. Then say going concern. So my right going concern. Going concern. Guys, don't complicate these things. These things are very. I'll keep on repeating the same thing. Can I ask you guys? Did you note something, Nyarai? Where the difference is? Did you notice where the difference is? Viola.
Yes.
Just this or this, there are so many types, but where the difference is about opinion, the basis for opinion paragraph. Wording, adverse, adverse opinion, basis for adverse opinion. If it's a qualified opinion, basis for qualified opinion. If it's a disclaimer opinion, disclaimer for basis for disclaimer for opinion. Simple like that. That's where the difference is. You've won. Then this bank. And the rest is the same. Other heading, just the same. So going concern, then say, right, going concern, then say, where there is a material uncertainty, where there is a material uncertainty, where there is a material what? Uncertainty, comma, with adequate disclosure. If I say material uncertainty, but you see, going concern it's based on assumptions. So the management, but you as an auditor, you should report on that. Even the management, they have adequately disclosed. If there's adequate disclose, you should report on that. This heading should be placed under basis after. So you see, I'm sure that you said where there is a material uncertainty with adequate disclosure. Then say in the auditor's report, a new heading should be placed. A new heading should be placed straight after the basis for opinion paragraph. Heading. Straight after the basis for opinion. Let me say paragraph is fine, just the same. Just the same, because there's something with that should be written. Yes. I'm sure that I'm clearly indicating the position of this heading. So the heading should be clearly described as material uncertainty related to going concern, like here, like what is written here. That's where we have when I report on going concern, the material uncertainty relating to going concern should be clearly written. Material uncertainty related to going concern. So under this heading, you should tell us if it's if it is adequately disclosed. You should tell us your opinion. The order should clearly indicate that the opinion is not modified or the opinion is modified. It depends that the management, did they adequately disclose the material uncertainty about the future? If there's an adequate disclosure, of course, the auditor should not modify, should clearly tell us that. So the first thing should describe the event. The matter should be described about the matter and tell us the opinion. If the management did not assess the going concern, which means a disclaimer or adverse opinion would be appropriate. Tell us under this heading, material uncertain relating to going concern. If there's inadequate disclosure, which means you tell us the kind of modification, you qualify your opinion due to that. So everything will be discussed on this separate heading, material uncertain relating to going concern. We do have again what you call emphasis of meta paragraph. Yeah, we're now polishing up. Emphasis of what? Meta paragraph. Other headings should be included in the report, in the auditor's report. Emphasis of meta paragraph. Are we together, guys? Hello?
Yes, we're together.
So I'm right, emphasis of meta paragraph. Is another heading that should be included. Fine. So am I right? Emphasis of meta paragraph is a type of paragraph. So am I right? Is a type of paragraph. Is a type of paragraph in an auditor's report on financial statements. Is a type of paragraph in the auditor's report on financial statements. Full stop, continuation. Such a paragraph is added to indicate a matter. Such a paragraph is added to indicate a matter. Such a paragraph is added to indicate a matter which is disclosed appropriately in the notes. To a matter which is disclosed appropriately in the notes, forming part of the financial statements. Forming part of the financial statements that the auditor considers is fundamental. That the auditor considers is fundamental to the user's understanding of the financial statements. That the auditor considers is fundamental to the user's understanding of the financial statements. Then NB, under emphasis of meta paragraph, they say NB. An emphasis of meta paragraph indicates. An emphasis of meta paragraph indicates. An emphasis of meta paragraph indicates that the auditor's opinion is not modified. An emphasis of meta paragraph indicates that the auditor's opinion is not modified with respect to the matter emphasized. With respect to the matter emphasized. Am I clear on that? Can someone try to explain in simple ways? Hello?
I can try, but after maybe you've explained this, is it possible to have an emphasis of meta paragraph in an unmodified report?
No, it's clear. I'm saying you are not modifying. This doesn't mean that you are modifying a report, but it's a heading that should under any report you can include this heading. So now the main is that to emphasize, what does the word to emphasize mean? You have mentioned this somewhere in your report, but you feel like I have to make it separately. But it doesn't mean that I'm modifying my opinion. I'm just emphasizing. Don't forget to do that. Don't forget to do that. It's a matter of emphasizing. Altogether, nothing wrong. It's a matter of, you see that these matters that they're important to the users, especially matters that are important to the users of the financial statements. You feel that I have to emphasize these matters, so I'm going to include a separate heading again to emphasize, so that the users of this report may consider it clearly. I think it's helpful. That's good. Any question? So then placement heading. This heading can be placed. You see, right? This heading can be placed. After the basis for opinion paragraph, or after the key audit matters, or just after, immediately after the basis for opinion paragraph, or just after the key audit matters. That's good. So guys, I'm sure we did a lot of things today. Thank you for cooperation and stuff. Right here, this is a good example of emphasis of matter. Look here. Look here. We draw attention to note X to the financial statement, which describe the uncertainty related to the outcome of the lawsuit filed against the company by XYZ company. Our opinion is not modified in respect of this matter. Clearly indicate that our opinion is not modified. It's something which is very important. The user, they must know about this lawsuit, about it, so that they may follow up the legal proceedings. Because so far the outcome is not certain, but you feel like the user, they must be out of this outcome. They must follow up. Smart out together.
Yes.
That's good. So guys, read about this one. So I'm currently asking you, starting next week onwards, for those who want, especially on Sundays, or reserve a time for you in the morning, for you just in probably an hour 30 minutes to do some part of revision. Part is you're going to do revision, but extra. I mean what? So I will send the question like today. I'm going to look for the question that we're going to do on Friday, probably on Sunday, so that won't left any stone attempt. The main issue about application of the notes. Application of the notes. If I say go and write the notes about what reporting, we won't finish. But the main issue is to explain. I'm sure now it's clear. If you start to read those, you revisit the text and stuff, you're saying okay. So guys, thank you for today's lecture. For attending this lecture. I'm sure guys, you're free Sundays, isn't it? It's extra lesson for you. Extra lesson.
Yes, we are free. Even if you add 2 more.
Friday, we meet Friday, then and Sunday, because what I want is that if I send a question, we must feel thoroughly. So please, if I send a question in advance, read it, try to jot down, try to apply the notes, so that when we meet, you understand where you are coming from, where you are going. And make sure that your questions are answered in the process. And you have to prepare your questions as well during the lecture, because that's what's called revision. So if I say on Friday we're going to look at this ABCD, then we finish on Sunday on this ABCD thoroughly. Make sure that you're going to look on that one, reading the whole story. Just imagine Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, preparing for that. So that lastly, when I'm going to give you the mock exam, I'm expecting to write something which is, you have to express yourself like a professional accountant. Isn't it, guys? Let us value the money that you are paying for the exam, for the lectures and stuff. So that's on Sundays, the whole month, I'm going to dedicate this every Sunday, 1 hour 30 minutes for free. Friday we meet, Sunday we're going to meet again, 9 probably to half 10 Sunday, 9 a.m. to half 10. Just imagine you're not going to church. At the same time, you're also busy. For what? Please utilize the time. This is the time. Just for a month, for weeks. I'm sure for 4 weeks. Yes, should be 4 weeks, isn't it? Okay, thank you, guys. I'm going to choose the question paper that we're going to for revision starting on Friday. And then I'm going to clearly indicate the area that should be covered thoroughly. Then we'll finish the paper on Sunday. That's what we're going to do on this August. So we got the duty of, when you're doing those question papers, read your notes, try to have some questions where there's some challenges and stuff, so that when we meet, we need a fruitful discussion. Not say I didn't read the questions, I don't know why, because you're not reading the question, you're not trying by all means to jot down something, try to have some rough, a solution, so that you may correct yourself to, oh, okay, that's where the problem is. Right, is this something which is difficult, Nyarai, Viola, and Yvonne, Francisco?
No, it's fine.
Please, if you want to read the notes and understand them, we usually do it with a question. Try to have on your side the notes. I'm going to give you the assignments that you're going to do, but first thing, I'm going to teach you thoroughly again. If it's about quality controls, together. In this one here, there's some issues concerning some specific accounting issues and stuff. If it's a matter of prospective financial information, we say today we're going to cover question number 2 and 3. Today we're going to question on number 1. Then 2 and 3 we're going to do it on Sunday. Thoroughly. Please read about those topics. Thoroughly means to relate on what we did last time, to then have a rough sketch of your answers, so that when you do it together, you'll be correcting yourself and polishing up. There's plenty of time. There is a plenty of time. There's a plenty of time to make it. So almost 2, 4, 6, 8 lessons that we're going to do for the intensive revision. Okay, thank you, guys. I'll send the question paper on the WhatsApp group. Thank you. You have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome.